Hey guys, hope you're well. So in this video, I will be discussing some questions that my subscribers here and on Instagram asked me. So a few days back, I put up a Q&A box on my Instagram. I actually do that every Saturday and I answer questions every Sunday. But I got some very good questions and these are questions that I have seen here from my subscribers on YouTube too in some of my comments. So I thought that I will make a video where I will be answering these questions for you. Now, I will try to answer as many as possible. I wouldn't be able to cover that many in this video. So if you want your question answered, I put up a Q&A box on my Instagram channel every Saturday. So you can leave your question there. I will either answer it there or I will answer it here in one of my videos. If it doesn't get covered in the first week, it probably will get covered in following weeks because I get a lot of questions. So I try to answer questions which will help as many people as possible. So let's get into these questions. I will be giving detailed answers on these questions and you will also be seeing these questions as I put them up. So the first question, how to let go of the old beliefs or the versions of people that you hold? This is a very good question, but it is a twofold question. So I will answer both these things in a separate way. So the first question that comes up here is, how do you let go of your old beliefs? So let's understand three things. First, anytime that you will have a belief, it will rarely just be in your mind. So this is how a cycle of a belief goes. You develop a belief or you start creating an assumption. Then you start creating perceptions based on that belief or that assumption. You start acting based on that belief or that assumption. And you start creating boundaries and behaving in a particular manner in your physical world, in your life, based on that belief and that assumption. Because of this, that assumption and that belief gets reinforced. And then you start to create a belief out of it. It happens again, it happens again, it happens again till it becomes true. I will give you an example. So let's say I have this belief that women always leave me, right? I will just explain this to you with the help of an example. So let's say I have seen this at some point in my life that I created this assumption that women leave me. Then I start creating perceptions based on that belief. So let's say I get into a relationship with a girl and then for a day she doesn't text me. Maybe she is busy, whatever, something that is happening. And I start creating this perception based on this assumption that I already have that women leave me. And I start reacting based on that. I start texting her thousands of times and everything. This is the action. It happens a number of times till the point, of course, she will also not want to deal with my insecurities for me. So we end up in a breakup. Now this belief gets reinforced. Now I have a stronger and a more solid assumption. So the first thing to do is to identify what your beliefs are. It will be very clear once you realize your actions, right? And if you aren't able to get to the bottom of this, connect to a therapist, a coach, someone who you trust, who can help you get better clarity with what your beliefs are, right? I would not recommend going to friends a lot of times. A big reason being because your friends have a bias towards you, which means that they truly care about you, right? And if they care about you, a lot of times they will not tell you the true thing, right? And a lot of times they are telling things to you from their own experience of the world. But you would want to get help from someone like a therapist or a coach. I'm not saying me, but any person who you trust, any person that you connect with, who can give you an unbiased, true opinion of your situation. After you have understood what your beliefs are, you can start first affirming the opposite. Then you can start seeing what are the actions that I do in my current life that is a reflection of these beliefs. And then eventually over a period of time, when a feedback loop gets created, these beliefs will stop being your beliefs. Coming to the second part of this question, how do I let go of the versions of these people that I hold? So the first thing that is important to understand is that when we talk about how do I let go of the versions of the people that I hold, a lot of times the assumptions that we make about people are based on general assumptions that we have about situations, right? So let's say I have, and I will try to answer this in as much detail as possible because it's a very general question, right? I don't know what's causing these assumptions, so I wouldn't be able to give you the exact advice. But a lot of times they are created by our general perceptions of people. So I had this client I was talking to, and she used to say this statement very regularly: "Oh, all men like are cheaters. They're just flakes, very hot and cold." Now, whenever she used to meet any guy at all, she used to constantly first see him from this lens that all men do this, so he's a guy, he must be doing this too. and her assumptions of this person were created by that. Sometimes our assumptions of people are created by our assumptions, right? So let's say I am going out on a date with a woman, and let's say I'm insecure about my nose, right? And she says something, and I start assuming that she hates me because of my nose. And I start thinking, why, like, is she talking to me that way? Maybe she's not liking me because of my nose, and maybe she's a negative person. I don't like hanging out with her. Maybe she didn't actually say anything, and I just created these assumptions in my mind. So, the first starting point to change your assumptions about people would be to work on the understanding where are these assumptions coming from and working on that. Coming to the second question, how to deal with loneliness? SP not interested, friends busy, when you feel alone wanting to talk to SP. This is a very common thing that happens with a lot of people who are manifesting a specific person. And a big reason why they are manifesting that specific person to begin with is because loneliness has taken over their life. And I have been there, so I understand. Because in that moment, it feels that only if this person comes back, I will stop feeling lonely, and I will be in this place where I will always have someone to talk to, and I will always have these things involved. So the intention behind going after the specific person in itself gets questioned, and that is something we should work on. If you're feeling lonely, that's understandable. Humans are social creatures. We are supposed to be in groups usually, and we like communication, we like talking to people. So that's something that will always interest us. If you're feeling lonely, talking to your SP won't solve them. Creating genuine connections in your life would solve it. A long term solution to this is what I can provide. And the long term solution to this is genuinely asking yourself, what kind of friends do I want in my life, and what kind of connections am I actually looking for? And if I was in place of these connections, so let's say I want a very good friend who is very loyal, who's very committed, who checks up on me, and we have a great connection. Why would that friend want to be my friend, right? That feels slightly self blaming, like it can feel slightly weird, but it's very important to take a look at that, because only when you can ask yourself that question is when you can see that, oh, maybe if I work on these things in my life, I would be able to attract and get into a better quality of friendships. Building up long friendships which are based on mutual interest and mutual connection is the way to solve this problem. Getting your SP back will just be a band-aid on a big wound, and it won't be able to be solved that way. The next question, how to react when 3D is not favorable? Two things to this. First of all, when we say 3D is not favorable, first thing to ask yourself is the 3D not really favorable, or is it just not how I wanted it to be? Or maybe it is just not going in the manner I thought it would be. Because a lot of times we are just predicting the how, and when the how doesn't go according to how we plan, we start mentally reacting. If that is the case, then letting go of your judgment towards the how is the first solution. If it actually is not going how you want it to be, if you genuinely feel that my life is not going in the direction I would want, the first thing to do is to accept that it isn't going in the direction that I want, and that's fine. This does not mean that my life will not change, because there was a time when life was good and it also got worse. So if it has gotten worse, it can also get better. But till the time that it gets better, I will do on a daily basis what I can do to make the best of the current moment that I have. That doesn't mean I have to enjoy it, neither does it mean I have to love it. It just means I have to be in a position where I can make the best of it, right? So that on a constant level, I'm not just waiting for things to change in order to feel okay. If you cannot feel happy, that's fine. You can feel okay. I can pretty much guarantee you that. The next question. We find love when we least expect it. Is that also a concept in manifestation or LOA? And is this true? Let me tell you the truth behind it. When people say, oh, I found this love when I least expected it, what they truly mean is that I was in a position in my life where I was not looking and searching for the concept of love. I wanted it somewhere, but I was not desperately looking for it, because of which I was able to be my true self. I was vibrant, I was loving, I was confident in my own skin, and I was not actually doing anything just to please people in my life. That is the time when people started getting attracted to me, and that is the time when people start coming to me. So no, it's not actually true that you stop looking for it. You still want it somewhere. You just stop trying to impress people. You just stop trying to be something that you're not. And because you actually act as the real you, you start getting people to like you, because the real you is actually very, very attractive. The next question, how do we know whether we are making progress in our manifestation journey? There are many metrics that you can check. Your reactions change. The things that you go after change. You start questioning the why of your manifestations. Your self-concept improves. All areas of your life starts to get better. All connections of your life start to get better. You start to be very consistent. You start to be very open to the fact of having real uncomfortable conversations. You become very honest with yourself. The next question, and this is my last question. What does not acting on fears mean? A lot of times we act in our life through the fears that we have accumulated over a period of time. More often than not, these fears are a result of the insecurities that we have developed and the unhealthy conceptions of life that we have developed. For example, the other day I was talking to one of my clients. She just received her success story. I posted it, that's my last video. But she told me that, in my past, I was just accepting breadcrumbs from my specific person because I was just acting from fear. I thought that no one will love me if I actually create a boundary, and they will only love me if I am able to then provide them these small things, which wasn't true. And once we stopped acting from that fear, it created a better dynamic for her, and she was able to create the life that she wanted. So I hope these questions help you. I will be seeing you guys in the next video, and have a really great day ahead.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe and share if you like the video. The link for my one-on-one coaching, my self-help courses, and my free newsletter are in the description box below.